Lindy Waters III, welcome to the Golden State Warriors. It was just the preseason, but preseason or not, I love that. If you're a member of Dub Nation, I'm sure you love that. If you love basketball, it's back, folks. It's just the preseason, but we're one step away from when it really counts. And Lindy Waters III leading the way, hitting a game winner. The Warriors are 1-0 in the preseason, 91-90, the final from Hawaii. Let's break it all down next. Let's talk about who stepped up, who did it. A lot to discuss. Let's get into it. A game winner. What a hell of a way to start the season. This is the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Let's go. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
Moses Moody stepping up. Lindy Waters III stepping up. Oh, welcome to the Golden Days. I'm your host, Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DogWild, over on Twitter at Surf Journalist, and the program is on all social media platforms at Golden Days Pod. Before we get into the good stuff, I didn't mean to say it like that because Bet Online is also good stuff. In fact, it's actually really fun stuff. You could have even bet on this game. That's the beauty of Bet Online, the official sponsor of Golden Days. Got to give them some love real fast here. We're in a good mood. It's Saturday night. And you could, right after watching this program, if you're watching this live, get back on your computer and gamble away, whether it's casino games, sports books. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football and basketball, obviously. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. And if you think you know your stuff, and I know a lot of you do, get in on the $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance of weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. And when the game's over, kick back, relax, especially tonight. Pour yourself a celebratory big one, stiff one, big one, both. Light them up if you got them. And head to the online casino. Create that ambiance, baby, of the casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online. The game starts here. The Golden State Warriors 91-90 winners. Look, I get it's the preseason. I understand these games technically don't count, but I'm sorry, man. I would have much preferred this game ending the way it did than if Lindy Waters had missed that game winner. What a wild setup at the end as well. Couldn't post, struggling inbounding the ball just to set up a play. What we thought was a turnover near the end ended up going back to the Warriors. They had one last chance with 1.6 seconds remaining on the clock. Lindy Waters gets the ball. Guy Santos with an incredible screen to leave him open for the game winner, and he sinks it. And look, Lindy Waters, I did not expect the first show of the season. I know it's still technically the preseason, but I did not expect Lindy Waters to be the highlight, to be the person that we focus on first and foremost. Yet here we are. He had a fantastic game. And look, there's one thing that stuck out to me about Lindy Waters when I was at Media Day, right? And one of the best parts of Media Day, one of the best parts of just being in person in general, because I don't feel like you're getting a better view of the game being live at the arena versus watching it on your TV set. But you do catch a lot of interesting things being in person. And one of the things for me as an observer that sticks out when you're in person is understanding just the physique of these individuals, how big of a human being they actually are. And Lindy Waters is a tall dude, especially when you're looking at this Warriors roster. By the Warriors standards, relatively speaking, Lindy Waters is practically a big. He's a legit 6'6". He's not 6'5", and if you put shoes on, he's a legit 6'6", which again, by this Warriors roster, by the standards presented based on who's on this team, that's tall. And Lindy Waters, who until this game, I was really not sure he was going to actually make the team. He is not on a guaranteed contract, so the Warriors, in theory, could just cut him and move on without any ramifications. But at the same time, the Warriors were not shooting the ball well. They finished this game 11 of 48 from beyond the arc, 22.9% from deep. The shots were not falling for the Golden State Warriors today. Stephen Curry, 0 for 4 from deep. Jonathan Kuminga, 0 for 2 from deep. Brandon Pajemski, 0 for 3 from deep. Buddy Hield, 1 for 5 from beyond the arc. Actually, let me go through a few more fast. Quentin Post, who a lot of people were excited to watch, who was drafted largely because he's known as a stretch 5, right? A 7-footer who can shoot the ball. 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. Jackson Rowe, who I know nothing about, and I probably will never know anything about. 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. Kevin Knox, who has an outside shot of making this team. 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. But Lindy Waters, folks, 5 of 7 from deep. All 7 of his field goal attempts were 3-point shots. Finishes the game 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. Finishes with a team-leading 15 points. A plus 14 in net rating also led the team. And, well, do I have that stat right? No, I stand corrected, actually. The net rating, that plus 14, went to Moses Moody, who's going to be the second player we're going to focus on because Moody had a fantastic game. So Lindy Waters was -5 in net rating. It doesn't matter. He hit the game winner. Again, 5 of 7 shooting in this game, 15 points to lead the Golden State Warriors in 3-point shooting. And again, even though it doesn't count, that the Warriors feel good. You want to celebrate. You want those positive vibes. So kudos to Lindy Waters for leading the way for the Golden State Warriors. And I know it's just one game, and you got 5 more preseason games to go if I have my information correct here in terms of the Warriors schedule. Lindy Waters played himself onto this roster, man, or at least he's on the right track. So kudos to Lindy Waters again for a game winner in a night where scoring was not plentiful, shots were not falling. I mentioned a moment ago the Warriors 11 of 48 from beyond the arc, but they win their preseason opener. That's a mood setter. The vibes are strong. You want positive energy in this world, right? Especially if you're in a field that's all about competition and winning your competition. And the Golden State Warriors did just that. So congrats. They beat the Clippers again, 91-90. They do have 5 more preseason games remaining. Normally teams play 5 preseason games. The Warriors have 6 on the docket, partly because they added the Hawaii itinerary to their schedule, and they beat the Clippers. I want to see what's going on in the chat real fast because the chat is on fire right now. Fal Sharpton, I haven't seen you in a little while, saying, so glad I finally caught you live. Feeling good about Lindy Waters. Feeling good about Moses Moody. Moody did look comfortable. I'm going to touch on him next here in just a moment because he looked damn good. Moses Moody, let's talk about him. One thing that stuck out to me with Moody before I talk about the good things was the fact that he wasn't even in the second lineup for this squad. The Golden State Warriors started with a starting 5. 4 of the 5 very similar to last year. 4 of the 5 very predictable. Stephen Curry was their starting point guard. Jonathan Kuminga started at the 3, his natural position. Draymond Green, who recently came out and said that he prefers playing alongside a center, meaning he's not a big fan of playing a lot of minutes by himself as the lone big, as the starting center. He prefers being a power forward. That's where he started. And Trayce Jackson-Davis, who had mixed results in the game today, was your starting 5. DeAnthony Melton, though, was the surprise because we still don't know who's going to win that shooting guard competition for who starts at that position. DeAnthony Melton was that guy. Sorry about the dog. So was that man for tonight's game. But late in the first quarter, Steve Kerr went with a hockey-style substitution, meaning he took all 5 starters out and brought 5 new players in to replace them. Not the norm in the NBA, but when you have a team as potentially deep as the Golden State Warriors, especially when you're exploring who's on this squad, who fits, when you're trying to figure out lineups and rotations, that in Kerr's eyes was the best way to do so. And Moses Moody was not in that second unit. That second unit had a 3-guard lineup, which included Buddy Hield, Gary Payton II, who I didn't think had a good game at all. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And then Brandon Pajemski. Moses Moody did not even crack the second unit. He was brought in after those 5 were in the game, and he lit it up. He looked smooth. He looked natural. He looks in shape. He looked like someone with a grind, with a chip on his shoulder, with someone who is very aware of the fact that he is underappreciated, misused, and he looked like he had a grind out there, man. He was on a mission. He looked motivated. Moses Moody, in just short of 13 minutes of play, he played 12 minutes, 56 seconds in this game, was 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from deep. His three-point shooting particularly stuck out. He was the only player on this Warriors roster in double digits in terms of net rating. He was a positive 14. No other player reached double figures with a positive or negative net rating. But when Moses Moody was out there, they were dominating. Plus 14, 12 points in this game. He also defensively had 2 steals in this game. The Warriors collectively had 14 steals in this matchup. Maybe some of that is just rust, sloppy play from a long off season. But Kuminga had a steal. Draymond had 2 steals. Trayce Jackson-Davis had a steal. Melton, Steph, GP2 did not have a steal. I'm sorry, but Steph and Melton had 1 steal each. Kyle Anderson, I really like the addition of him. Slow-Mo was playing solid tonight. He had 2 steals. Pajemski had 2 steals. Kevon Looney, who I thought looked really good out there today, 2 steals. Moses Moody, I mentioned a moment ago, also had 2 steals. 14 total for the Golden State Warriors, but Moses Moody was playing lights out. Bravo to him for an excellent performance and an excellent game. And the Warriors win. That is just awesome. I want to see what's going on in the chat, man. Let me do this. Let me do this here. I'm going to put the link. If anyone wants to jump on with me tonight, I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. If anyone wants to provide their 2 cents, the door is open. All right, so the link is now in the chat. If anyone wants to join me, Stephen Curry in this game. Again, he was 0 for 4 from beyond the arc, was 2 for 8 from the field overall. He's, again, the Stephen Currys, the Draymond Greens, the veterans like them, they're not the ones we're going to focus on much today, just because you know what you're getting with these 2. They're future Hall of Famers. They're 2 of the greatest to ever play in this game. Jonathan Kuminga, I thought looked good, not great. The reason why it's not great is because, again, he was 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. He missed, he went to the line once and had 2 free throw attempts, missed one of those 2. I'm just not a fan of that, period. Now, with that said, he did also grab 7 rebounds in this game in 19 minutes of play. In fact, he led all players in minutes for the Warriors tonight with 19 points and 13 rebounds. 19 points and 19 minutes, 13 seconds. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. My mind is racing, folks. There's a lot to break down. 7 points, 7 rebounds for Jonathan Kuminga. Again, a good, not great performance, simply because the outside shot was not falling, but he reminded us as well the athleticism is still very much there. He was slamming home the ball like it was au natural. Like he has no, like that's his game, man. He just soar over the rim. I bet you if he actually really tried, he could probably get his chin above the rim. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But so Kuminga had a good game, but we need to see his shot start to fall a little more. Trayce Jackson-Davis played 18 minutes, 15 seconds of this game. My only critique with Trayce Jackson-Davis, the main reason why I'm not thrilled with his performance tonight, is because Zubac ate him up. Zubac played 17 minutes in this game. He was 5 of 6 from the field. He also grabbed 6 rebounds in this game, finished with 14 points. Trayce Jackson-Davis, his biggest job is trying to make life difficult for the opposing player's center. Zubac was eating burgers inside. He was having his way. He was not being impeded like Trayce Jackson-Davis should have been doing, making his life difficult. So I want to see more defense from Trayce Jackson-Davis. It wasn't a terrible effort from him. 4 points, 6 rebounds, again, in 18 minutes of play, but the defense has to be a little better. Zubac should not be scoring at will like that. Is he a good big? Yeah. Is he an elite center in this game? Hell no. So if Zubac is scoring 14 points with minimal effort, I am afraid a little bit for what the elite centers of the game are going to do. But again, it was just one game, so there's no panic buttons being pressed in a preseason game. And nonetheless, just my 2 cents on observing Trace Jackson Davis. Let's see if anyone else wants to come on. Not yet. Okay, so we'll continue on with the analysis. DeAnthony Melton won the starting nod. In terms of the shooting guard position. Whether or not that stays the same when Wiggins comes back, we shall see. If you follow the show consistently, if you watch me regularly, you've heard me say this before, and I'll say it again. Andrew Wiggins, to me, should be the team's shooting guard. He should, and likely the starting shooting guard. He adds 4, maybe 5 inches of height on DeAnthony Melton. He's likely a better 3-point shooter than DeAnthony Melton. And while Melton is undoubtedly a great player, and we all know that the Warriors love this guy, they've reportedly wanted him on their team for years before they were able to sign him using the mid-level exception. He won the starting nod tonight. He was 3 of 7 from the field. He was 2 of 5 from deep. DeAnthony Melton is undoubtedly a solid player. The only downside is he's 6'3". And in the game of basketball, that stuff is important. It actually matters. So that part may be a little concerning in the sense of seeing him in the starting lineup. I don't know if that's the plan long term, but he looked good, man. I have no complaints with DeAnthony Melton getting minutes as a starter, though. I do think Andrew Wiggins is more deserving, and the way Moses Moody played, I think Moody should be the starting 2. In all honesty, I say Wiggins just because of the likelihood of it. But if I'm the actual head coach of this team, Moses Moody's my starting 2. And let's hope what we saw tonight was a sign of things to come for Moses Moody, because he played fantastic basketball. But DeAnthony Melton for the evening, again, 3 of 7 from the field, 2 of 5 from deep, played 12 minutes in this game, was a +2 in terms of net rating, scored 8 points, had a steal as well, had an assist as well to go with 2 rebounds. Solid performance. Nothing to write home about, but solid play. A player that I did not think was solid was Gary Payton II. GP2 was inserted with the second unit. In hindsight, if Steve Kerr was Notre Dame and could see the future, maybe Moody comes in for him. I think Moody would have been a better fit as the 3 on that second unit that came in there. Moses Moody at the 3 alongside Buddy Hield and Brandon Pajemski just makes a lot more sense than GP2, who, look, is an awesome basketball player, but with the durability issues and his shooting, offensively, he's not known for that. He's not an offensive threat per se. He had 1 3-point attempt tonight, which is from the corner, normally his sweet spot, but he practically airballed the thing. By the way, Naveen, are you available? Because I don't see you. I don't see your face. So if you want to join the program, I don't know, I'll give you a try anyways. Naveen, are you there?
Yes, I.
All right, man. Welcome to the program. What were your thoughts from the Warriors hitting a game winner, courtesy of Lindy Waters, 91-90 winners, 1-0 in the preseason? Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to appreciate your work covering Warriors, sir. Yeah, been a good big fan. I've been watching the show like forever. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, coming to the game, I like the how Moody went in, looked very comfortable out there. It's not like he didn't look out of sorts. Basically, he looked really good out there. But after seeing this game, I mean, even in the last previous season, I wondered why. Pujemski was rated high. I don't know. I might be wrong, but his 3-point shot, I don't know. Even his mid-range game, sometimes I feel not much comfortable with his shooting. Out there.
I get it.
Yeah, and also when today, obviously, Wicks is not out there, so it was easy for who plays between Kuminga and Wicks. I don't know, but I want to see Moody out there in a starting unit, not even look today. He looks like he's not even in the second unit. So he's 11th man, I think, and 10th or 11th man today. So I would like to see Moody take the Clay's role. I don't know how it pans out, but I don't know. Sometimes I really, really wonder why Kerr Steve Kerr underrates or not doesn't appreciate Moody much. I really feel it, because even in the last season, in the tough games, when Warriors are down, most of the times Moody is the one who will, even if his shots are not falling, he'll be a dog out there on the defense. I mean, we can clearly see that. I don't know.
Absolutely right. I know. I'm totally with you. Naveen, here's the thing with Brandon Podziemski real fast. He did not have a great game today, at least statistically speaking. And I don't know if he was rusty. Just to give his stat line, he was second on the
1 of 9.
He was second on the team tonight in minutes, just behind Kuminga, played 19 minutes, 13 seconds. Podziemski played an even 19. He was 1 of 9 from the field, 0 of 3 from deep, finished the game with 4 points, was a +5 in net rating, grabbed the 5 rebounds, which he's become a notorious for, had 4 assists in this game, added 2 steals. It wasn't a great game for him. I totally get that. I think the hope is that Podziemski's 3-point shot is going to fall at a more consistent level. It was just one game. Here's the good news, Naveen. You could play Moody and Podziemski together, so it's not like an either or thing, right? What were your thoughts on Moody, though, man? I know do you want to add a little more on Moody and what you thought about his play?
Yeah, I mean, even like right after he came into the game, he had a steal, he had a block. He had a 3-point shot. The one which he got up there and who used the screen and just knocked it down. Those are the things, right? We would like to see. Like he had immediate impact on the game. That's when, I mean, to be honest, he kept us in the game when the starters were out. And then Lindy Waters, man, he's like really, really cool. Like seeing him out there, he's not even like look like a small guard. Like looks like he's a little bit big, but his shot is so smooth. I really liked him to be on the team, but I also wondered why Plowden was, I don't know, not used. I felt that after like third quarter, maybe in half of the third quarter, I felt that team was not having, I mean, no one was scoring on the team, to be honest.
Yeah, they were struggling. I mean, look, they finished with 91 points. That's not a lot for a game. Naveen, I'm gonna move on if that's okay.
Sure.
Any last words you want to throw in there real fast? Daquan Plowden, by the way, no longer with the team, just in case you were wondering. Any final thoughts?
No, overall had a good game. I think you might have seen Steph and Dre, everyone hyping him out there. Lindy, that was really good to see. Good vibes, as you said. Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't want to take much of your time. Thank you. Thanks for
Naveen, thank you, man, and thank you for watching the show, and thanks for jumping on, man. I appreciate contributions from yourself and everyone else. Bringing fresh perspective is a beautiful thing. Thank you, Naveen. Have a great night, man. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And I just want to move on from or add on to what Naveen was saying real fast. I'm not worried about Podziemski. He did not have a good game today, at least not from a shooting perspective. He was missing short range shots. He was missing almost everything. He made 1 bucket total again. Let me see if at least from the stat line. I don't remember if he ever had any trips to the free throw line. Oh, he did. He went twice. Oh, and he was only 2 of 4 from the free throw line. That, of all the stats I'm looking at right now, is the most inexcusable. You cannot be shooting 50% from the free throw line if you're Brandon Podziemski. That's rough. But again, I'm not super worried about it. He's literally the youngest player on the team. Not a good first game, but again, let's judge Podziemski after 6 preseason games. It wasn't a good one for him, but moving on real fast. And also want to mention as well, this is where and I'm sorry to be soliciting, doing a shameless plug here, but if you become a Golden Dazer, it's like a $2.99 a month membership thing. Your comments will automatically during all these live shows be highlighted and featured, and I'll play all of them. Otherwise, if you want your thoughts expressed on this program, and if you want me to repeat them or to add to it, it might get lost in the shuffle. So it's $2.99. I am trying to run a business. I apologize for that. But nonetheless, in case you want to get your thoughts more featured on the show, just want to throw that out there. So Podziemski was okay. I got a lot of notes here I want to get to. And if any sound comes down before the show ends, I will be sure to play that. I am monitoring if there is a post-game press conference or if the team is getting on the flight and coming back home immediately afterwards. I do not know, but I will play sound if any of it comes down. One facet of the game that the Warriors did excel at today, and I mean they were on fire in this department, and that's transition offense. The Warriors were fast breaking it, 80s Showtime Lakers style. And the Clippers had no answer to that. The Warriors were 9 of 16 from the field, finished with 22 fast break points in this game to 16 for the Clippers. They were killing it. And those 14 steals I mentioned a moment ago that the Warriors had, that is what led to a lot of these fast breaks. So the Warriors' hands were all over the place, causing chaos, making life difficult for the Clippers in terms of them running their offense. Norman Powell was on fire. The Warriors defensively had no answer for him. But nonetheless, if the transition offense, again, the Warriors were one of the worst fast break teams last year, and a lot of that was their transition defense. But you got to score points in order for your transition, in order for your fast break stats to be better. And the Warriors were not scoring enough fast break points last year to improve their standing in that department. So tonight, they outscored the Clippers by 6 in terms of fast break points. That's a good sign. Kudos to that. Kyle Anderson is someone I want to talk about for a second because the Warriors added 3 players this offseason. We talked about DeAnthony Melton a moment ago, started as a shooting guard tonight. I thought his defense on James Harden, by the way, was fantastic. Bravo to DeAnthony Melton. And again, a lot of what he's going to be doing is going to improve as he's getting reps and as he's getting time with this offense, assimilating himself, familiarizing himself. He's been in the Bay Area all summer, working out at Chase Center, working with the team to learn the system, and you saw that he looked natural for the. Oh my God, I was muted. Okay, can you? My bad. Okay, so for the record, I did not mute myself. That is the system doing that. I sincerely apologize. How long did I go without? Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry about that. I need to check my screen more often. Okay, so I don't know how much you heard about Kyle Anderson. That's who I was talking about to myself, apparently. I apologize for that. That's just happened. This is the system I'm on, and every now and again it glitches where it just mutes me. Like I would have no reason to mute myself. 5 minutes, God damn it. I apologize for that. Anyways, yes, and I'm also in the preseason as well as Sean, so I apologize for that. I was talking about Kyle Anderson and how important and awesome of an addition he has been to this team. I talked about DeAnthony Melton, someone who started the game, who seems to be fitting in seamlessly with this squad. Kyle Anderson is an awesome pickup for this Warriors team. And what I mean by that is he's someone who you're not going to be the stat line is not going to represent what he's contributing, right? Like he's very similar to Draymond Green in the sense that if you look at the box score and you see Kyle Anderson, you're not going to look at that and think to yourself, "Oh, he was amazing. His contributions were priceless. I don't know how we would have won this game without him." No, the stat sheet will not tell the story of Kyle Anderson, but he's long. He has an incredibly high basketball IQ. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, as evident by the fact that Tonight, for example, he had one turnover, I believe, in 14 minutes of play. You're not going to see a lot of turnovers from him. You're not going to see dumb plays from him. You are going to see great defense from him. I particularly like him and Looney playing the front court together. Kevon Looney had an awesome game tonight as well. We'll talk about him in just a second. But the Kyle Anderson edition, it only took one preseason game for me to just be reassured about Kyle Anderson, for me to feel incredibly great about the Kyle Anderson signing. The Warriors desperately needed a player like him for this team. So I'm happy. I'm very happy that Kyle Anderson is a part of this. And again, the stat sheet is not going to tell anything. I'm not a big fan of seeing him shoot 3-pointers. He put up 2 3-point shots in this game, missed them both. They weren't even close. He shot 22.9% from deep last year, but he was 1 for 4 from the field. He had one trip to the free throw line, made both his free throws. That's huge, right? It's subtle, but it's huge. Finished the game with 4 points. Didn't have any rebounds, surprisingly. But again, don't rely on the stat sheet for Kyle Anderson. He's an awesome player. The third free agent, at least the significant free agent that the Warriors added this offseason, was Buddy Hield. And Buddy, and now I got to keep checking to make sure I'm not muted. Okay. Oh, and by the way, AP Prep Boy, interesting take. We'll talk about Damian LaRoche. See, Damian LaRoche is a golden dazer. Anytime any comment he writes, it's going to be featured. Because, again, he's a member. So this is an example of what the membership will get for you. So Damian LaRoche is writing that Reese Beekman is trash and that the team should have kept Daquan Plowden over him. We'll talk about him in just a second. I guess we're talking about him now. Let's talk about this. Reese Beekman, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year with the ACC, undrafted rookie. I didn't see any problems with him in terms of ball handling. I think he's fine in terms of facilitating the offense, running the offense. I didn't see any issues with him passing. The stat sheet, I don't think, is going to say much. He played almost 14 minutes in the game, 0 points, had 2 field goal attempts, including at the very end. He missed a shot that would have tied the game. In hindsight, good thing that happened because and eventually Lindy Waters hit the game winner. He had 2 assists in this game. He had 1 rebound in this game, and he turned the ball over twice. He also did have a block. Reese Beekman is someone who, again, it's one preseason game. I can understand if you really love Daquan Plowden, why you'd be upset over the fact that Reese Beekman was picked over him. I get that. Give this kid a little more chance, a little more time. He still might have a role on this team. Reese Beekman, I didn't see anything defensively to make me concerned about him, right? And that's really first and foremost why he's on this team. Gary Payton II could be traded this year. Highly unlikely he's going to be re-signed after this year unless he accepts a veteran minimum. And Reese Beekman, in a lot of ways, was signed probably as a successor to GP2 in terms of a perimeter defensive player, someone who can do the little things, but you're not going to, he's not going to complain if you don't give him big minutes. I also can understand your gripes, right? I mean, they did choose Reese Beekman over Daquan Plowden, even though Plowden clearly is a better player. So I get it. I hear you. Pat Spencer, another two-way player on this roster alongside Quentin Post. Dude, every time he plays, I'm impressed. Like, he doesn't blow me away. Like, I don't see Pat Spencer play and think to myself, oh, wow, he deserves to be a starter in the NBA. But I could see him earning a guaranteed role, and he's a good basketball player. Anyway, so those are my Reese Beekman and Pat Spencer takes. Kevon Looney looked damn good. Kevon Looney basically was, if anybody looked like the 2022 version of themselves, a lot of people are wishing for Wiggins, who did look incredibly sick, by the way. Thank you to Andrew Wiggins for wearing a mask, so you're not contaminating your teammates with whatever you got. Everyone's clamoring for Andrew Wiggins and the 2022 version to take form again. But Kevon Looney looked good, man. He looked like a perfectly fine backup center on this team. He clearly he should not be starting games if you want to consider yourself to be a serious team. But as your backup center, besides the fact that he was 3 of 5 from the field, besides the fact that he grabbed 5 boards in this game, 2 of those offensive in just 9 minutes of play, he also played great defense. He also had a pair of steals. He was a +5 in net rating. I thought Kevon Looney was fantastic. par for the course. Oh, I stand corrected, actually. He was a -6 in net rating. Sorry about that. That was one stat I got wrong here. Did have 2 blocks in the game as well, though. So kudos to Kevon Looney. Is there anyone else that should be discussed? Buddy Hield is the last player who's on my list. Let me see if there's anything else in the notes that I want to touch on real fast. Again, GP2, I talked about his game a little bit. He gave up a 4-point play to James Harden. Again, if you're going to be a defensive specialist, don't give up 4-point plays. Okay, that's just should never be happening if you're a player like GP2. And then immediately following that 4-point play, he airballed that corner 3. So not a great game for Gary Payton II. Kevon Looney, on the other hand, looked like he was in midseason form. And last but not least, because I'm not really going to talk much about Kevin Knox. I guess Quentin Post we could talk about for a second. Meh, right? I mean, Kristen Peak was on the show last month, and I think she articulated it best. Like, do not expect Quentin Post to be a difference maker this year. Too soon for that. As I've mentioned before, he is not a physically imposing player. He's not dominating the inside. I see other players pushing him out of the way too easily. So he needs to add some muscle to the physique. And Quentin Post, part of the reason he was drafted was because he spaces the floor, right? He's a 3-point shooter. Unless you're, playing for the Warriors. Granted, it's only one preseason game. I get it. We're not judging anyone, religiously off just this game, but 1 for 7 from the field, not good. There was one sequence where I think he grabbed 3 rebounds off his own misses. Like he tried to put it up, missed, tried to grab the rebound, tried to put it back up, missed, grabbed his own rebound again, and then missed the 3rd time. So it wasn't a great look for Quentin Post. Again, 1 for 7 from the field. He was 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. That's a part of his game that the Warriors really need from him. So not the kind of game that, we're going to, be celebrating. There's some development there. And Quentin Post looked like someone who a 2-way deal, I think, is apropos. He's going to need a lot of minutes in Santa Cruz. Who knows, though? It's way too early to tell. But he did grab in this game 3 rebounds, and I think all 3 of those rebounds were from his own misses. And I want to see if anyone else, Rich Dub, saying that Quentin Post was pulling a Moses Malone. And Berserk Monk, exactly. I'm not sitting here saying cut him. It's one game, but it wasn't exactly that impressive either. So he will develop, and he's going to play. He's going to spend a lot of time in Santa Cruz. AP Prep Boy adding that Quentin Post looked better than James Wiseman did. Woo! All right, for one game. Exactly. Energy Manifest saying, give Post a chance like more than one preseason game. Wholeheartedly agree. I'm totally with you. Damian LaRoche in the chat adding, did the janky Hawaii gym, the Golden State Warriors were practicing at BYU Hawaii, and I think that's what the game was. No, the game was at University of Hawaii. But Damian LaRoche asking, did that janky gym they were playing in have any effect on the shots falling? I don't know if the gym had anything to do with it. Maybe being in Hawaii itself possibly had more of an effect. Side note, by the way, I know this has nothing to do with anything. I don't know why I was reminded of this right now, but good to see Jeff Van Gundy back on the sideline. I know he's the assistant coach for the Clippers, but for someone who in the 90s was a figure in the NBA as an NBA coach, I mean, I'll never forget all those Knicks teams that he was the orchestrator behind. Good to see him back. He looked good out there. Anyways, I digress. Nick Fensky adding that Kuminga's 7 rebounds in this game were huge. Wholeheartedly agreed. Kuminga looked fine. It's just that the outside shot was not falling in. But the great news about a player like Kuminga is if those outside shots aren't falling, he has other tricks in the bag he can pull out. And his athleticism is really huge. His ability to get to the rim is immeasurable in terms of value. So Timothy Santiago saying that the turnovers were driving him crazy. The Warriors as a team today had a total of only 6 turnovers. Wow. Is that correct? No, that was no. I'm in preseason form. I apologize for that. The Warriors had 6 blocks in this game. Not a bad figure. They had 20 turnovers. So good call on that. Stephen Curry with 3, Draymond Green with 2, Kuminga, Trace Jackson Davis, GP2, Kyle Anderson, Brandon Pajemski, Buddy Hield, Lindy Waters III and Quinton Post each had 1 turnover in this game. Pat Spencer had 3 turnovers. Reese Beekman had 2 turnovers, and Buddy Hield also had 2 turnovers. Let's wrap up at least the player analysis, and then I'll check out the chat one more time before we call it a night. On a Saturday night, the Warriors are 1-0 in preseason play following that fantastic Lindy Waters game winner. Buddy Hield, he came in with the second unit. It was like a hockey-style substitution, and he played almost 17 minutes in this game. They got him for shooting, right? I mean, that's easily the number one reason you give Buddy Hield $10+ million a year. And he was 1 for 5 from beyond the arc. That's not what you want to see. 2 of 7 overall. He was a +4 in net rating, so at least the team was winning while he was out there. Did have 2 turnovers, as I mentioned earlier, I believe. Had 1 assist, had 2 rebounds. So kind of like a blah game for Buddy Hield. Again, it's just 1 preseason game. We shall see what happens, but you want to see those shots falling for Buddy Hield of all people, but nonetheless. Ooh, and then now we have J-Rock coming in here. J-Rock, do you know how Moses Moody feels when people make comments like yours? J-Rock writes, I bet Steve Kerr still won't play Moses Moody despite him playing good tonight. Moody, your thoughts?
I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. It does. Let's hope that's not true. I totally understand the cynicism. I totally understand you being jaded by the Steve Kerr experience when it comes to Moses Moody and maybe a lot more. But let's hope, please, that Moody gets his shot if he continues playing like this, especially. New perspective. I like this, right? This team got potential low key. 100% agree. There is a lot to like. And look, even if they had lost this game, there still would have been a lot to like. We still would have been excited, exalted over Lindy Waters III and that shooting display he put up tonight. We still would have been elated over Moses Moody. It just would have stung that they would have lost the game. But and Joe, I like this thought right here. That the Warriors might have finally found Draymond Green 2.0, even though Kyle Anderson and Draymond Green are just, I think, 3 years apart in age. Oh, wait, what? People are saying I'm muted? No, I'm not muted. I'm good. Yeah, right, again, that was I apologize for that. Ishan, I think, was eloquently put it in preseason mode right now. And anyway, so I like the addition of Slow-Mo. I like this team so far. The Zubac 14 points, the easy scoring inside, that's a little concerning. I still don't know what the answer is when this team plays bigs who are elite, and there's a lot of them out there. But yeah, there's a lot to like. There's a lot to like. Fal Sharpton asks my thoughts on Jackson Rowe. I have no thoughts, man. He's not going to make the team. He'll be perfectly fine for Santa Cruz. There were a few guys in there that played that were, it's just one of those like, cool. You got to this level. That's incredible. Like Jackson Rowe, Kevin Knox, Blake Hinson. I thought Guy Santos played decent today. It was a quiet 12 minutes for Guy Santos, but I thought he was contributing out there, even though the stat line has nothing for him. He was a +2 in net rating. Did have 2 assists and 3 rebounds, so good for Guy. But Jackson Rowe, it's like whatever, man. It's one of those things. Anything else before we wrap it up? We've been going for 43 minutes. Let's see if there's any sound that has come down from the post-game presser. They might not have a post-game press conference simply because it's a preseason game. They might be just running for the plane immediately after the game to get home. No sound, at least from initial impressions. There might be some later. But yeah, Damien, I'm totally with you. I love Guy Santos's energy. But long story short, Lindy Waters III, welcome to the Golden State Warriors. I know this has nothing to do with basketball, but side note, the fact that he's a Native American, I think is awesome. You don't see much, if any, representation from that demographic when it comes to NBA basketball. So I like that. It's a nice touch. And the shooting, though, was just exemplary. I mean, he's got an incredible shooting form. We'll see how that goes, but that's a clear win. that is a clear in the win column for Mike Dunleavy Jr. If Lindy Waters turns out to be a fantastic pickup, one game in, awesome. Yeah, so far so good. So anything else in the chat before we go? Berserk Monk saying the Lindy Waters should definitely hold that 13th or 14th roster spot. I agree. JMU22 writing that the starting lineup is going to be Draymond, Steph, DeAnthony Melton, Wiggins, and Trace Jackson Davis. All right, we shall see. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I wouldn't like that. I would not like that if that's the starting five, but it wouldn't surprise me as well. So what you're basically saying is you think Kuminga is going to come off the bench to start the season. That's fascinating. But yeah, Damian LaRoche, basketball is back, baby. That's huge. That's the bottom line. The Warriors next play October 9th, which is Wednesday. They're going to be at Sacramento. That's the next preseason game. So, we're going to be here covering it Wednesday night. I might have a show either tomorrow or Monday, playing some sound, doing some more follow-up reaction to this game. But for now, the Golden State Warriors are 1-0. That was an awesome game. That really was an awesome game. I'm not going to lie. Even though it was just the preseason. With Rick Barry was on the show 2 days ago, and I went through all the last 6 years of the Warriors preseason. And there's only 2 of those 6 years where they had a losing record. One was 2019, where I think they were like 1-4, and that was Kevin Durant's last season. And that team could care less about the preseason, right? That was a veteran squad, established. You weren't really developing anyone. You weren't going to give any young players who you didn't know much about a lot of playing time. So they were just going through the motions, right? And I think that the year of the pandemic, they were 1-2 in the preseason, limited games again because of COVID. But otherwise, this is a team that typically wins their preseason games. And it's not a bad thing to win these. These are tone setters. These do set the mood for your season. This does give confidence to a lot of individuals. I guarantee Lindy Waters is feeling a hell of a lot better about his game now than he did an hour ago. So there's so many positives to take away from a winning preseason. I love it. This was a good thing. This was a great thing. Damian LaRoche, I think you nailed this perfectly. This is the first season you've cared about the preseason. And this goes for a lot of people because of how many new players are on this roster. DeAnthony Melton, Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson, Lindy Waters III, Quidden Post. There are a lot of new faces. Klay Thompson, first time in who knows how long, 10 plus years, he's not a part of this team. One thing that has not been determined from one preseason game is who the number 2 scorer on this team is. Likely Kuminga. If I had to pick, I would say Kuminga is probably the number 2, but who knows at this point? I still don't know who's going to be carrying the load. This could just be each night someone different is number 2. We don't know. Coast to coast, there's a few people in the chat upset about Daquan Plowden no longer being with the team. I don't blame you. If it makes you feel any better, come regular season, even if Daquan Plowden was on this team, you would never have seen him. You're not going to see Pat Spencer. You're probably never going to see Reese Beekman. You're probably rarely, if ever, going to see Quidden Post. So I get it, because talent-wise, Plowden was probably the best player they had as a two-way compared to Pat Spencer and Reese Beekman. But maybe he'll get a shot with the Hawks. Who knows? But and Joe adding, wait till they find out about Klay's defense in Dallas. Absolutely. It was weird that Klay Thompson came out and was trying to pretend that his year last year was actually a great season. He was honestly trying to spin it like that. No, you had a bad year last year, Klay. And that's by your standards. That's because that's how good of a career you've had. But we shall see. And then you have the people already. One preseason game, anonymous writes, pods should be traded. I will say this. If we're judging things off one preseason game, not trading Podziemski for Lauri Markkanen doesn't look like a good mood. But the good news is, I'm being facetious. It's just one preseason game. Link 1879, 1000% with you. Just love that basketball is back. All right, folks. Well, I'll be back at this either tomorrow or Monday, hopefully with some more sound, some more analysis. But basketball is back, folks. That's the theme. And Lindy Waters 1 game in. You can shoot, kid. Congratulations. Bravo. We'll be back at this soon. Warriors are 1-0. A game winner in Hawaii. Kudos, everyone. And thanks, everyone. Back at this soon. Bye-bye. Muted.